Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are around this beautiful planet of ours. Today's video is looking at the macro picture of cryptocurrencies as they continue to crash, capitulate, dump, whatever you want to call it. They've continued down this entire bear market without an even chance to breathe. Basically, what we want to figure out now is how much further can these things go, and is it still a possibility to hold on to these for the hopes of the market to go up, for the cryptocurrencies to go up and regain some of those major losses here on those altcoins. Now I'm going to bring up some charts that we've covered here on the channel for many months now, looking at the breakdown, the capitulation and crashes of altcoins, and many of the warnings of why this is not a great idea to be holding altcoins in a bear market. The first I have here is our total cryptocurrency market cap. This shows many of the levels, the breakdown levels, ideas and reasons why altcoins are not a good idea to be holding, specifically looking at the technicals here. So we had some of the first indicators back in late 2021 and early 2022 when some of the major timeframes started to break down all the way back here. This didn't mean we had to dump all of our altcoins, but it was definitely a safety call to say, get the hell out of altcoins. These things are looking very weak, because in the macro picture, something like Bitcoin was starting to break down as well. You can see this is one of the biggest dumps that BTC had. How does that help us now? Well, we're still seeing a breakdown on the total cryptocurrency market cap. A lot of these coins are still down. A lot of the lows continue to get broken, especially on the total cryptocurrency market cap, excluding Bitcoin and ETH. So this is all of the altcoins. Now, in a recent video that I did here on the channel, which is why I always say subscribe and like the content, I've been talking about warnings and titles and all this sort of stuff for the entire bear market, especially even in the bull market. I mentioned that altcoins are just those things to make profits from. Don't want to hold these things throughout the bear market. And of course, I was met with a lot of rejection from other people, which is absolutely fine. Probably means that we're doing something right here. Not to big note ourselves here whatsoever. I just want people to stay safe in the market, take their profits and wait. Essentially, it's about being patient, which is what we're now finding out the hard way. So to the downside, looking at these final capitulation zones, because some of those comments from the video were, well, we're already down so much now. How can it possibly go another 40% down? Like you can see here in the video, I was looking at particular targets for the total cryptocurrency market cap, excluding Bitcoin and ETH and stablecoins. There's still a possibility of maybe another 30-40% on these altcoins. So you're gonna have to assess whether that is part of your plan to hold for that or not. But I want to give you another major reason why I don't hold altcoins throughout bear markets based on previous cycle history. And it happens very often with the majority of coins. If you think your coin is not going to be included in this list, think again. It's basically 99.999% of all altcoins from previous cycles will get hit with this particular theory as well. So to the downside here, looking at these final capitulation zones, basically, when will this pain end for altcoins? This is the total cryptocurrency market cap. Fortunately, we're still holding out at this level around 760 billion. But if this starts to give way, which is getting very close, and we're not really seeing any bounces. So what you want to see is a bounce from any of these support levels, because then that shows that buyers are actually coming into the market in a stronger way than what they were previously. So if you're getting a bounce and the bounce fails, and then you get a weaker bounce and a weaker bounce and weaker bounces, it just means that the buyers aren't there yet. They're not willing to step in with their money and see any sort of value in these coins, regardless of what we understand about the fundamentals. It's just the pure data from the charts. We want to avoid buying on weak rallies. We want to be buying up at lows and potentially some confirmation of those lows being in. So what we're seeing here to the downside, if this level gives way around 760, we have the possibility of coming all the way back to the mid fives, maybe high $600 billion market cap. It's going to be another 20-30 odd % off the current prices. So there's 750 to the downside, about 28-29%. Somewhere in the middle is going to be about 20%. So that's the total market cap, including the stable coins as well. That wouldn't be a bad area for final capitulation. If it does go under that, and we get somewhere between 400 and about 530-ish, that's going to be a worst case capitulation zone and still able to recover from from this particular level because it still sits above previous resistance. You can see we had resistance in 2018. You can see we had resistance in 2019 and then again in 2020 before the market took off. The worst case is if we start to break underneath those previous resistance levels. You basically don't want to break under that because this then extends the bear market and the possibility of further downside. So we have that level here. Wicks are okay, and if it just drops into it quickly and we recover out of those levels, that's okay. But if it starts to consolidate under these levels, that's going to be really, really bad for all of the altcoins and potentially Bitcoin and ETH. Underneath that level, that's basically a very bad capitulation zone, meaning we go back into the previous accumulation zone of the prior cycle, meaning this was just a massive, massive bubble without anything to support the bubble apart from speculation. What we've seen in the past, so just to make that a little bit clearer, what we've seen in the past is that we do have bubbles, but when we capitulate, when we crash and dump, the market finds higher ground here. The last few times, it has not fallen back into those previous zones of accumulation, which means we are finding progress, and the bubble territory is just essentially speculation, people going absolutely nuts. But if we fall back into this accumulation zone, probably means that we're going to be grinding out at these levels for a lot longer, and we probably won't see all-time highs for the major cryptos, which potentially had a chance. And so we definitely don't want to see it go that far down. We want to see it remain above these particular levels of at least around 400 billion, probably somewhere even better around above 500 billion. So that's the worst case stuff, looking at why it's probably not a great idea to be holding altcoins, because these are still all possibilities of the market breaking down in these zones. So if that happens, it then increases the likelihood of the next bull market being very weak compared to what we've seen in the past. We don't have any confirmation of a bull market yet. We don't have any confirmation of a bottom yet. Speaking of high risk situations, the total cryptocurrency market cap, excluding BTC and ETH, is breaking down. So it has broken the previous low set in November. This is going back to just the video I did a couple of days ago now, looking at this particular market potentially breaking down another 30 or 40%. That sets it all the way back at around 200 billion market cap. And the common question that comes up is, I'm already down so much. What's the point of selling out now? I'm just going to wait and hold. And so hopefully I've been able to answer that in this particular chart analysis here as to what goes on in the market and the particular zones that we should be looking out for. Not the news, not the fundamentals, not any other sort of noise that's going on out there, but the particular price levels of support and resistance. We want to see buyers coming in at particular areas. If they don't, that means something fundamentally is wrong, and we'll hear about it in the news later. But the price is telling us now that there is something really, really wrong. We're not there yet, just something to keep aware of. And so with the total cryptocurrency market cap, we've got some breakdown levels here, including the old stable coins in this one here, but excluding the BTC and ETH, looking somewhere around that 200 billion. Stable coins at the moment are currently about 140 billion. So if we take those out of the equation, 200 minus 140 gives us about a $60 billion valuation for all of the cryptocurrencies. So that could still be around a 40% off the entire board. Some are going to go down more, some are going to go down less, but overall, that could be a possibility if we get to somewhere around that point. And this is a chart that shows a lot of the damage happening. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. And in the last week, as this is a weekly bar chart here, you can see that we've risen up. We're hitting around 42.5% dominance. So Bitcoin holding 42.5% of the entire space's valuation. To the upside, we're looking at around 44% as a potential rejection point. So if Bitcoin is able to get to this level, the 50% here, that could then mean that we might get a bit of a rest on altcoins losing their value against BTC. That brings up another important point. Why is it so important that we don't lose value against the BTC value with our altcoins? The reason is, if we're losing value against our altcoins, we're taking on a lot more risk with our money. Basically, Bitcoin is risky as it is, and then the rest of the altcoins follow. They're all extremely risky. And so if we're losing value against BTC on those altcoins, we might as well just hold BTC instead and reduce our risk. Staying in the market is extremely risky, and we want to reduce the risk as much as possible. And so if we're finding that our altcoins are actually bleeding out in their BTC value, similarly to what happens in many, many altcoins. I'm just picking on ADA in this case. As you can see, it's been bleeding out since the peak. Then it would have been better to sell off ADA and wait for confirmation of accumulation and then a breakout. And these breakout periods don't last very long. If you don't believe me, go and check the charts of many altcoins, almost every single altcoin. Their breakout periods, times for trading, not long-term holding, are few and far between and last only several months. If I take this off log, you can just see how bad this move actually is to the downside. And we're just about to break further down and potentially head back into this previous accumulation zone for ADA against BTC. So make sure you check this on all of your other altcoin charts to see how strong your altcoin is doing against its BTC value. Look at it on something macro, look at it on a weekly, look at it on a monthly to get that macro picture. I will update this on the channel as well, so make sure you do subscribe and stick around. I'll be looking at other altcoins in the future and showing you how to use this tool here, the TI Gann Swing Indicator, as this gives us a lot of insight as to how to pick when the bears are flipping to the bulls flipping to the bears. On the macro picture here, what we're looking for in terms of support and resistance for price targets, stop losses, and basically it's a whole trading plan within itself. So if you're interested in this tool, here's the shill. It's the cheapest it is going to be. This price is going up very, very soon. 1 month, $8.99. One of the cheapest indicators you can find online and one of the most easiest to use and protect yourself and make far more profits, save yourself a lot of losses in the market, as these particular signals here, when you start to see these swings break down, are extremely valuable signals to say, get the hell out of positions. Even though you could be a long way down from the top, you can see just how much money it can save you to the downside. And this goes on any particular chart I bring up. Once these levels start to break down, look at that particular swing that would have got you out of ADA at around $1.80. And we gave out many, many warnings on ADA on the way down. This will be in the top of the video description, the link to the TI Gann Swing Indicator. Get it while it is still cheap. It is going up in price. It's one of the cheapest indicators you can find out there to save you a ton of money. So what we've covered so far are the total cryptocurrency market caps, just how far they could fall, areas of support and resistance on these market caps so that we can then relate that to our individual altcoins that we're potentially holding. We can assess the risk of holding altcoins with the possibility of how much downside there is. And then the next biggest question overall is, should we continue to hold these altcoins even though they're down so much, with the maybe hopes of them going up in the next cycle? And so we go back to the Bitcoin dominance here, and then we can look back at the cryptocurrency markets, basically going to the cryptocurrency market caps here between different cycles. My position is I don't hold any altcoins throughout the bear market. Get rid of all the altcoins as close to the top as possible. Even at a 50% breakdown, we know they continue to go further. And the reason being is eventually Bitcoin takes back a lot of those gains, and the altcoins from the previous cycle just do not make it. They are not there in the next cycle. And so their moves to the upsides can be extremely limited. And just picking on ADA again as an example here, we can see if we take it off log, you can see the previous cycle was very, very high at around 9,000 Satoshis. The next cycle top in 2021 was only at 6,000 Satoshis. So it did go higher in a dollar value, but it did not beat its previous Bitcoin top. And so holding these altcoins throughout bear markets and hoping that they get higher again is an extremely risky play, because you can still get those gains on Bitcoin. Trading them, different story, but just holding and hoping from these top levels, if you bought it back then and going, hoping to get higher prices again, you would have been better off selling the alts and then buying back. Now, this is a good example of an altcoin because some of them never even made it this high. We could be here in altcoin value, still got this to bleed through, and the next altcoin value may only go to this peak and then bleed off again and continue down. A clear example of that is Litecoin. Litecoin being one of the absolute worst cryptocurrencies to have held since inception. And you can see this against the Bitcoin value, where it's basically gone down and down and down with more and more hopes throughout in each bull market. So this is down against the Bitcoin value and is trying its best to get out of the bear market now. So if this continues down, it has been better to hold Bitcoin than Litecoin for pure profits, because this keeps losing a lot more value against its Bitcoin value. High risk, low reward. That's not what we want when it comes to trading. That unfortunately is the reality for a lot of altcoins once they've been through an altcoin season. If your altcoin was in the season of 2021, probably the next time we get a massive altcoin season, it might not perform as well. That's just based on history of what we've seen. We can go back to the previous altcoin seasons, for example, of 2017. Those altcoins did not perform. Majority of them did not perform as well in the next altcoin season, which was in 2021. And eventually this is going to break down. Bitcoin will break its lows and will go on another major altcoin season. Bitcoin will lose its dominance again, and more altcoins will gain that back for a short period of time. But if we're still holding altcoins from 2017, we're probably going to see less and less gains from those particular coins, and the same deal goes for 2021. The reason is a lot of these coins are absolute garbage. There is nothing behind them as much as the hopes and dreams try to tell us there is. This is just what we've seen over the course of history, and if you choose to play it differently and believe that there is more behind a particular intangible coin that's online, I'll leave that one up to you guys. But for now, I hope you are finding a ton of value from this and liking, subscribing. Check out those links in the top of the video description, especially for our free report and the Gann swing indicator, which is going up. That's it for today's video. Check out the videos popping up on your left-hand side right now, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for a big one on the macro lookout of S&P 500 and, of course, Bitcoin. Till next time, peace out.